Hi guys, so this is going to be my labor and delivery video. Excuse me. I don't know why, but I'm so out of breath. But let me show you the baby. People usually wait to the end of the video to show you the baby, but I'll show you her first. She was sleepy. It's my little peanut. She should be getting up to eat pretty soon. But yeah, maybe she'll sleep through the video. We'll see. So, if you watched my last video, you know that I went in for my doctor's appointment on Thursday, the 28th, and they said that they wanted me to be induced the next day, Friday. So I went into the hospital at 6 a.m. Friday, August 29th, which is her birthday also. I had her the same day. I had my mom come with me, and I don't even know what to say about that. She's my mom, and I love her, but if I could have had somebody else, I would have chose somebody else. The hospital that I went to, you're allowed to have 2 people in the room with you until you give birth. So I chose my mom and my sister, and my sister couldn't find a babysitter, so my mom went with me. And she smokes, so she was in and out of the room every half hour, every hour, which didn't really bother me at first, but when the contractions started getting really bad and I was in the room by myself, it was frustrating. So she also fell asleep, and we left for lunch, and she had a friend out in the waiting room, so she kept leaving the room, and it was really irritating. So one piece of advice that I have is make sure you have a good birth partner with you, because you're going to want somebody in there with you the whole time. You really are. Yeah, I know. Let's see, so I checked in at 6 a.m. As soon as I got there, I just signed some papers. I'm looking at notes down here, so that's why I'm looking down. So I signed papers. They put the hospital bracelets on me, and then we were taken up to the labor and delivery room where I stayed until I had her. They gave me a hospital gown to change into, and they pretty much left us alone until about 7 o'clock, 7 a.m. They came in the room, and they put the IV in my arm, which I did not like. I love her little faces. I thought the IV hurt really bad, and I have tattoos and stuff, and I thought the IV hurt really bad. They had to do it 3 times because they couldn't get it in right. So the 3rd time they had to call some kind of specialist or something. So I thought it was uncomfortable. 7:30, they gave me the Pitocin, which is a medicine that starts your contraction, basically it gets your labor going. And then right after they gave me the Pitocin, the doctor came in and broke my water, so she did that quite early. Everybody said that the breaking of your water doesn't hurt, but I thought that it hurt. It was actually uncomfortable for me. She actually made a comment about, if I can't do this, then we're going to have to do a C-section. And at the time, I didn't want a C-section, but I ended up getting one anyway. But I didn't care for the first doctor that I saw. She was the same doctor that I went to when I first started TTCing, and she told me that I was fat and I need to lose weight before I try to have a baby. But her shift changed, and I ended up getting another doctor by the time she was born, so I was happy. What next? Around 8:30, I started feeling the contractions. They didn't hurt, but I did feel them. I was up walking around and standing and talking. I was basically bored. I didn't want to lay in the bed. As soon as I did get up, though, all the water gushed out. It was all over the place. It was all over the floor, all over my legs. It was gross. I had no idea that once they break your water, that water still stays in there until you get up. I actually felt like a gushing throughout the whole labor process. So, yeah, the contractions felt like, the best way that I can describe contractions is getting your blood pressure checked. You know, they put that cuff on your arm and it gets real tight to the point to where if it gets any tighter, you think your arm's gonna bust, and then it lets go. It lets go, and it lets go, and it lets go, and it lets go, and then it feels fine. That's what contractions felt like to me. Yeah. Mama went through a lot bringing you into the world. But yeah, that's the best way to describe them. It's really, the pain hurts towards the end, but it's nothing you can explain. It's something that you have to go through. You just, if you had a baby before, you know what I'm saying. The pain is undescribable of what it feels like. But the best way that I can describe it is the blood pressure cuff. That's what contractions felt like. Just with a lot of pain. They would get so intense, so bad that I didn't think I could take it anymore, and then it would be gone. And then like a minute or two later it would come back and get really tight, and I feel like I'm gonna die, and then it would be gone. And I went through that for hours. Let's see, around 1:30, so from like 8:30 till 1:30, the contractions weren't that bad. Around 1:30 they started to get uncomfortable to where I had to lay back down in the bed. Standing didn't help anymore. I even tried bouncing on one of those exercise balls because they say they're good for labor. I thought it made it feel worse. I thought I felt more pressure down there when I was sitting on the ball than if I was standing. Standing felt better, but you can't stand for very long time, especially when the contractions are getting bad. It's hard to stand. What else? Around that time is when I had called my dad because I wanted my dad there with me. Like I said, my mom was in and out of the room. The contractions started getting bad, and I needed somebody in the room with me. And the nurse even mentioned, she said, you know, I can tell her that she's not allowed to leave the room if you want me to, because you should have somebody in here with you. I said, no, that's okay, my dad's on his way. So my dad came, and my dad stayed by my side the whole time. He held my hand the whole time. He was there the whole time. He was, you know, trying to be, you know, encourage me and tell me I can do it. And he didn't leave my side, and I don't know what I would have done without my dad. I'm so glad that he came. The only time he did leave my side is when they went to check me for dilation. He kind of went to the other side of the room, turned his head around and stuff, because, you know, it's my dad. But other than that, he was there with me the whole time, and I so appreciate that because I needed his hand to squeeze. Around 2:30, around 2:30, I asked for the epidural because the pain started to get where I couldn't take it. I was starting to cry, and so they had to put a catheter in first because once I get the epidural, I would be numb, and then I wouldn't be able to get up and go pee. So they had to put a catheter in, and right before they came, it took them a while to come. So when you ask for the epidural, they're going to take a while to come. They don't come right away. At least they didn't for me anyway. But my pastor ended up showing up. And because I'm only allowed to have 2 people back there, she couldn't stay very long. But she came right at the time that I needed her. Right when they were getting ready to give me the epidural, she was there in the room. And she helped me get through it. She helped me breathe through the contractions. She was encouraging and was telling me, you know, God has blessed me. I'm getting ready to meet my little girl, and she was wonderful. God sent her at the right time because the epidural did hurt, but the contractions were so bad. I wasn't thinking about how big the needle was or how bad it was going to hurt. I just wanted the epidural. Unfortunately, it did not work for me. It actually only numbed the right side of my body, and then the left side I could feel. So, but she did help me, and I'm glad she came. Right after they were done with the epidural, they told her that she had to leave. The epidural stung when they put it in, when they put the needle in, and then I felt like this cold sensation going down my back. I don't know if they were putting medicine in or what they were putting in, but it felt really cold. Let's see, what else? Yeah, my big thing was the needle, but the pain was so bad. I was like, what needle? I don't care. Stick it in me. I was shaking after I got the epidural, and I kept shaking until I gave birth. Little faces. They told me that it was normal, and it looked like I was freezing. My teeth were chattering. I was like going like this. Like even my dad was worried and was like, is this normal? Is she cold? Does she need a blanket? I'm like, no, I'm not cold. I don't know why I'm shaking. They said it was because of the epidural and my body going through labor. What else? After the epidural, they had me lay on my side. What they did was I was on one side, and then, like, say if I was laying on this side, I had this foot up in a stirrup. It was kind of weird feeling, but you're in so much pain. It's right what they say. When you're in that kind of pain, you don't give a crap who sees you down there, and you don't care what position they got you in to give birth, and you just want to have the baby. But so they had me on my side with one leg up, and they checked me. I was 5 centimeters dilated at the time. Every 30 minutes they came in and switched me from side to side. They said it would help bring her down because her head wasn't coming down yet, and that was very uncomfortable. It was. Every time I had to move, it just hurt so bad. I was screaming. I know people heard me out in the hallway because I would get in a comfortable position, and then 30 minutes later they would make me move to one side, and it just hurt so bad. Because I was moving from side to side, they couldn't keep track of her heart. They had the monitor thing around my belly, but because I kept moving, they kept losing it. So they had to put this little thing on the top of her head. And I didn't even feel when they did that because all I felt was just contractions, contractions, contractions. But she had like a little black and blue mark on the top of her head when she was born because of it. But they needed to, they needed to keep an eye on her heart rate and making sure it wasn't going down, or making sure she wasn't in stress or anything. So, what else? So I just spent the next few hours going through the contractions, and I asked the nurse, when does she think she was going to be born, and she said, what are you doing, lady? She said probably around 6 p.m. She was way off. I didn't have her until 10. But yeah, I was crying the whole time. Dad was holding my hand. It was so much pain. So much pain. I was actually saying, what did I say? I was cracking the nurses up. I was like, there's nothing beautiful about childbirth. I don't know what people were talking about. There's nothing wonderful about this. And they were laughing. They're like, oh, but it's worth it in the end. You'll see. If I would have recorded my labor and delivery, I probably would have scared people into not wanting to have kids, because that's how bad I was yelling. It's kind of embarrassing, but I guess I don't have a high pain tolerance, because there are some women that give birth and they are completely quiet and don't make a noise, and I don't know how they do it. At that point, I wasn't really paying attention to like the clock or people. I had my head buried in the side of the bed and my eyes were closed, and I just didn't feel like talking to anybody. I was just screaming and just so uncomfortable. I felt like I was dying, honestly. And you hear a lot of people say that when they're in labor, they think they're going to die because the pain is so bad, and it is. I felt like I was. And they ended up checking me again, so I went from 5 to 7 centimeters dilated. I have no idea what time that was. At that point, when I was 7 centimeters dilated, I was begging for a C-section, and they were like, "You're almost done, you're almost there." They were just, trying to get me to not want a C-section. But it was, the pain just was so bad that I really, really wanted one. So I just kept going into labor for a few more hours, and about 9 o'clock, she came in and checked me again, and I was still 7 centimeters dilated, which I should have been way more by then. So then the doctor said, "How about we do a C-section?" I was so glad to hear her say those words. I mean, I was so freaking happy. I said, "Yes, let's go for it, come on." They had me sign a paper. They gave me some fluids through the IV, and then they gave me some medicine through the epidural in my back, or whatever was back there, and everything went numb, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful. I didn't feel a thing from the chest down. The pain completely went away. I was able to talk, and I was getting excited because I knew the baby was coming now, and I didn't feel any pain. It was the best feeling, getting that medicine, and it numbed me. It was wonderful. And I know a lot of people are against pain meds and stuff like that, but the epidural did absolutely nothing for me. And just feeling that the medicine they gave me before the C-section was awesome. Let's see, I had my dad go with me, to have the C-section done, so he was there when she was born. He was actually the first one to hold her, because I couldn't hold her. I can just remember when I got to the operating table, or when the operating room, they moved me to this another table that was like smaller, and I was like, "Please don't drop me, please don't drop me, I'm heavy, I'm heavy." And the doctor was like, "Yeah, don't worry about it, we got you." I couldn't feel a thing when they picked me up and lifted me and put me on the other table. I didn't feel nothing at all. What else? After they put me on the table, they had to shave me, and then they put this blue sheet up. It was right in front of my face where I couldn't see absolutely nothing, except for what was on the side of me. And then they took my arms and they strapped my arms down, and then that's when my dad came in and sat down next to me. Baby was out very, very fast. I mean, she was out in minutes. It took them longer to put me back together and stitch me up than it did taking her out. And I can remember hearing her little cry for the first time. It was so sweet. It's truly unforgettable. You hear a lot of mothers say that they'll never forget that, and you won't. It's just one of those moments that's going to be stuck in your head forever. And she was just crying and crying and crying. I couldn't wait to see her. They let me peek at her. They put her over the sheet real fast, but since I wear glasses, I didn't have my glasses on, I couldn't see her. So I just saw like the shape of her body, and that was it. And I was like, "I wear glasses, I can't see her face." They're like, "We'll bring her back, Mom. We're just gonna get her cleaned up." So my dad got up and walked over there and watched them clean her up and weigh her and stuff. And they gave him to her, or they gave her to him to hold, and he finally brought her over to me. And when I saw her face for the first time, it was something else. I can't explain that either. It was something else. Your heart just melts when you see your baby for the first time. She was 7 pounds and 6 ounces when she was born, and I thought she was going to be a little fatty because she looked really fat in the ultrasound pictures, but nope, she was only 7 pounds. She was 20.5 inches long, and yeah, they checked her sugar when she was born because I'm diabetic, and they had my dad take her to the recovery room and feed her, because with me being diabetic, they wanted her to eat first, or eat as soon as possible. So they took her away and I was just in the operating room, just sitting there, just thinking, and just, waiting for them to get done so that I can, go see her. And I ended up getting sick on the table. After they took her out and they were putting me back together, I ended up throwing up, and the guy that was sitting next to me after my dad left, he was really, really nice. He ended up suctioning my mouth out for me, and was professional about it. He was nice, and talked to me the whole time that they were working on me. What else? I gotta turn the page. The only thing I felt during the C-section was after they took her out. I felt like a little tugging, like my body was, I could feel my upper body like tugging like this. So you kind of feel a little bit of something when you're getting the C-section, but nothing at all. You could tell something's going, you could tell somebody's doing something to your body, but you don't know what it is, you can't feel it. Oh, another weird thing that I felt was my boobs felt like they were on fire through the whole surgery, the whole C-section. I don't know why, but they felt like they were like really hot and on fire, and I was too embarrassed to say anything, so I don't know if that's normal or not. But once I was done and was in the recovery room, it started going away. So tell it with you. Nope, not yet. I thought she was gonna wake up. So yeah, after the C-section was done, they rolled me to the recovery room where I stayed for an hour, and I got to see the baby. I remember rolling in and looking over and seeing my dad feeding her, and they gave her to me right away. She was whining, like crying a little bit, and then they opened up my gown and sat her on my chest, what they call skin to skin. And I started talking to her, and as soon as I did, she immediately was quiet. It was like she knew who I was. Like she knew her mama had her. It was so sweet. That's something I'll never forget either. I started feeling like lightheaded and weak while in the recovery room. They said that my blood pressure was low. I also found out that my iron was low. And so they ended up taking the baby and giving her back to my dad because they didn't want me to drop her or anything. So I just felt really weak, and I felt like I was going to pass out and go to sleep. They had him leave the room. They put her in her little baby bed after a little bit and cleaned me up. Like I said, I was in there for an hour. They pushed on my stomach very, very hard, but I couldn't feel anything because I was still numb. She said that she was trying to get the blood clots out. So after they did that, they cleaned me up, gave me a new gown, kept the catheter in until the next day. What else? Oh, and then they just rolled me up to my room where I stayed until I left on Monday. So I was there from Friday and I left Monday afternoon. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And when I got upstairs to my room, my dad and my mom was there, and my stepmom and my little sister. They were waiting out in the waiting room the whole day that I was there, and I felt bad. And I think the nurses felt bad too, because visiting hours were over at 8. But they stayed because they didn't want to go home without seeing the baby. So they let them go back there and see the baby. It was like 1 a.m. when I finally got up to the room. I was so tired. I was like, my eyes were falling, like I was falling asleep. My eyes were closed and everything. So they only stayed for like a half hour to hold the baby and stuff, and they ended up coming back the next day. But I was so tired and I was hungry. They wouldn't let me eat the whole day, but I was more tired than hungry, so I just asked for some ice water with some ice water, water with ice, and I drank the water and ate the ice chips, and I fell asleep. I wasn't thinking about eating. I just wanted to go to bed. So I had them take her to the nursery so that way I can get some sleep. And they did. They brought her back the next morning. The nursery is closed at 7, so they bring the babies back like 6:45 into the mama's rooms. I was really sore the next day on Saturday. I was really sore. I couldn't get up. I wasn't allowed to go to the bathroom. I still had the catheter and stuff in until about 8 o'clock that night. And every time I needed something, or she needed changed, or she cried, or anything, I had to call a nurse. If I wanted to hold her, she was in her little bed, I had to call the nurse to come get her and, you know, put her in my arms for me because I couldn't move. The next day, I had a lot of visitors on Saturday. On Sunday, they took the IV out, and I was so glad to have that thing. I was so glad to have that thing out, and I was up and moving. They told me the more I got up, the more I moved, the faster I would heal, the better I would feel. So when I first got up, I felt like I was a little child learning how to walk again. It was really hard to walk. You hear me talking? There, you're all curled up like a little ball. By Monday, I was so ready to go home, even though I loved my hospital stay. The food was good, the nurses were nice. I actually miss being there now. I wish I was still there. The reclining bed was awesome. And the nurses were there with just a push of a button. Here, right now, I've been home for a week now, and I don't have any help, barely. So it was nice to have the nurses there. Definitely take advantage of that when you're in the hospital having your baby. What else? Yeah, they just had me watch some videos and gave me a bunch of paperwork to read. The videos were about the shaken baby syndrome, and there was something else too. I can't remember. And then you had to sign a paper saying that you watched the video and that you won't, you know, shake your baby. And oh, the other one was about SIDS. What else? They gave me a little spoon. I don't have it with me, but it's a little spoon saying, you know, that I had her at the hospital and congratulations and stuff. I thought it was cute. It's a little keepsake spoon. I'm not going to use it. I'll probably put it, you know, in like a little keepsake box with her going home outfit or something. Save it for her for when she gets older. They gave me a bunch of formula before I left, and I was glad that they did. And they weighed us both. The doctor came in and checked my incision, and then the pediatrician came in and checked her. They actually wheeled her away, and they gave her, I believe it was a hepatitis shot in her foot. It was something that they gave her. A shot. She had a shot in her foot and a shot in her leg. I have the papers. I just don't remember what the shots were. What else? She lost weight. She was 7'6" when she was born. She was 7'4" when we left, and they weighed me, and I was 265. So I lost pretty much all the weight that I gained while I was pregnant. I gained 14 pounds. So I just have 5 more to go, and I'll be at my pre-pregnancy weight if I haven't lost that already this week. But we'll see. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, so yeah, this video is already 30 minutes long, so I'm gonna end it here. Like I said, she's already a week old today, so you're looking at her now. She's not actually, she looks different from what she did when she was first born. I'll insert some pictures of her as a newborn, and you'll see like her face is a lot fatter. She looks more swollen, and she looks different now. She's changing so much already, and it's only been a week. But yeah, I'm gonna work on my 1-week postpartum video this weekend, so I'll have it up. But here she is. Oh, look at that face. So this is our room. That's the front door, or how you get in. It's my little baby. Bathroom's in here. I get to take a shower today. I'm excited. And go home tomorrow. Then there's a sink, chair. So yeah, that's where we've been staying the last couple days. And it's my bed. And I have a really good view of the water. It's really early in the morning right now, so the sun's not up, but it's a nice view. Everybody that comes in here likes it. And yeah. And here's my little baby.